Hi and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I am Chrissy Hiller and I am the Mum Boss. If you are listening to this on podcasts or you are watching on YouTube, you are so welcome here. I'm so pleased to have you. Thank you so much for joining me. So I need to cough. I thought I'd do a little end of the year podcast and video. I know that my podcasts have been a little bit sporadic in the last couple of months whilst I've been focusing on some other things, and that's part of the reason actually that I wanted to put this episode out and talk to you a little bit about this, because I want to share with you my learns from 2022, and I thought this was a great time of year to do this. It's, as I'm recording this, it's the 30th of December. We are coming up to the end of the year. Everyone is starting to think about their goals and what they want to go into the new year trying to achieve, and I just wonder how many times people actually go back and think about what it is that they have achieved and learn in the year before. I am really sorry that I am probably going to cough through this episode. One of the things that is a huge learning for me that I will talk about as part of this episode is just how important self-care is. So at the end of December, I pulled my neck. What date was it? The last Thursday before the second to last Thursday before Christmas, whatever that date was. I pulled my neck in the gym and my whole neck and back went into spasm, and I could barely move, I could barely walk, and it was a real pain. It was a struggle to drive, and I had to go to physio and get sports massage done to try and release the muscles, and was told to stay out of the gym for a few days. So I went back for a treatment on the Monday, and the physio said to me, right, you can go to the gym tomorrow, but don't lift anything too heavy, maybe just do some cardio so that you feel really good and you're getting those endorphins moving, but don't lift anything. Anyway, as I went through that Monday, it got to the afternoon and I started getting this really sore throat, and I texted Tom and I said, wow, I've got a really sore throat. He said, yeah, I've got a bit of a sore throat, nothing to write home about. By Tuesday morning, I felt rubbish. I had an awful night's sleep that night and I felt just dreadful by the morning, and so I didn't go to the gym. So this was the Tuesday before Christmas, and I would say that Thursday was probably my worst day, and I felt just horrific, and I thought, how am I going to host Christmas feeling like this? How am I going to survive the day? And I'd had all these plans for what I wanted to do on my days off, and the things that I wanted to bake, I wanted to do all these nice things, and I just did none of them. I ended up doing my last few client calls, and between those laying on the sofa, and that's about all I could manage. Luckily, by Christmas Day, I was feeling better. I did wake up at 4:30 a.m. with a coughing fit on Christmas Day, and I coughed for 90 minutes pretty much straight. That was horrific, but nothing that a nap didn't fix. The tiredness got fixed by a nap that evening, but I made it through Christmas Day, only for my stepmom to then come down with the same bug, which I think a lot of people have had, this kind of sore throat, shivers, feeling a bit sick, horrible tickly cough. but I just pushed on through Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then the day after Boxing Day when my brother and his family come to our house, which is, what is that, the 28th? So we got to the 29th, which was yesterday for me, and I've had 2 or 3 nights of really amazing sleep, and I just needed to rest. So I did a bit of work on the sofa, sitting next to Tom, cuddled up with the dog, but literally under my new Oodie, which, for those of you watching on video, these are the best things ever. My cleaner Lauren recommended these to me, and Tom got me one for Christmas. It is a hoodie that is also like a dressing gown, and it is super warm. So I've got it on my lap right now. But that's what I've done for the last 2 days, is sit on the sofa under a blanket and just rest, work a bit but rest, and it's been the best thing for me. So today was my first day back at the gym, where I took it really easily. I just did 1 or 2 sets of kind of my favourite exercises just to get my body moving again. I think I might feel it tomorrow. I will go back again tomorrow, but yeah, that has been a really tough couple of weeks for me, because I'm not used to just giving into it all. But I'll talk more about that as we go through. So what I wanted to do was share with you some of my biggest learns for the year, and they're quite personal to me, but I'm hoping that they'll inspire or help you in some way. I don't have all of this figured out. I don't have life figured out perfectly, despite the job I do. But each year I take the learns that I've had from the year before. I do a big review of my year. It takes me about an hour and a half to do. And I take those learns and I try not to make the same mistakes again. So I wanted to share with you exactly what 2022 has taught me. So the first one is that self-belief is hugely underrated. Now, in March of this year, in 2022, I went through quite a long period, I would say about 6 weeks. It started in kind of late February and went through to early April. 6 weeks of huge self-doubt. I was telling myself that quitting my corporate job was a huge mistake, and I'd really underestimated how tough owning and running your own business was, and I kept telling myself my business was failing. It absolutely wasn't, but for some reason I was telling myself that. And this led me into this cycle of negative thinking that I found really, really challenging to get out of. I woke up every day feeling like the day was going to be a struggle. And that negative self-talk of, you're not doing very well, you're not doing the best job that you can, you're not being the best coach, you're not being the best wife, you're not being the best mum, you're not being the best friend, you're not being the best daughter, sister, all of these things. This reached all parts of my life. And it was really draining and really, really difficult. And I know it was difficult for the people that I love to see as well, because and for them to experience, because I know that for those 6 weeks I found it so difficult to find the positive in anything, because I was saving all of my positive energy for my clients, and so everyone else around me got the negative me. And it just took one conversation. I'm really sorry about the coughing. I'm going to keep drinking. It just took one conversation to change the belief that I had in myself, and to turn this all around, and to show me that actually everything was as it should be, and everything was fine, and I was doing really well, and that recognizing that in my business, running a business is hard, and it was it wasn't even my first full year of doing it. I was in my first 6 months. And I could, and that my clients were getting results. So why was I being negative about that? And my son was happy. And why was I being negative about that? And, it was all of these things. And I could see all of the negatives that I was holding on to and how I'd been ignoring the positives. And so now I tell myself every day that I believe in myself. I tell myself how well I'm doing. I celebrate every single one of my wins. And when I start to feel some of those negative thoughts come in, which, by the way, are absolutely natural, we can all feel like that. I changed that narrative. I changed that conversation in my head. And so what I want you to take from this is, when you are telling yourself that you can't do something and this is too hard and this is too difficult, flip it around. You will start to look for all of the evidence to prove yourself right. We're humans. We don't like to be wrong, okay? And so we will always look for the evidence to prove what's going on in our mind right. So when I was in that negative cycle, I was looking for all of the proof that I was failing at everything. And so I was finding it and not seeing the positives. So flip it around. And it's really hard to do. It takes a lot of concentration. But now when, something isn't going right, like feeling ill and being so sick for 2 weeks, instead of thinking, oh God, I'm so useless, I'm so lazy, I'm not doing anything, I flipped it around. No, your body needs rest because you've worked so hard. You are entitled to this rest. And I'll be really honest with you, whilst this is the sickest I've been in years, it was also the easiest time I've had with being ill, in that I just surrendered to it and I just allowed it to happen. So, and that's because I flipped it round. So that's my first one, is self-belief is hugely underrated. The second one that I want to share with you is that kindness is free. Okay, so doing the job that I do and putting myself out there on social media means I open myself up to comments, thoughts, opinions of people that I both do and don't know. Not all of these comments, thoughts and opinions are positive. And this year I have experienced more unkindness than I have in my life ever before. From complete strangers to someone who was once one of the closest friends that I'd ever had. From people telling me that I should end my own life when I was at the lowest point I've been all year, which is what I've just told you, that time in March. I shared how low I'd been feeling, and I had messages from people on social media trying to with people telling me that I should end my life. And then other people trying to split up my family. People, trying to ruin my business. People trying to, do all kinds of cruel things. And let me tell you something. Every single one of those comments that I've received has been dealt with kindness. Because that's all I can offer someone who wants to try to cause me pain. They are, people that sent me messages on social media telling me to do, one of them was, why don't you do everyone a favour and end your life? They don't know me. That comes from a place of pain for them. So I could have sat there and replied to all of these messages and got into rows with all of these people, but I just replied with kindness and said, things like, I really hope you never feel like I'm feeling right now, or like I was feeling when I posted this picture, and I wish you nothing but love. And that is all I could do, because these comments are not about me. They are about them. So my message here is, be kind to people, because you never know what battle they're fighting behind closed doors. And that is so important. Number 3 is family first. So I spent the first 5 months of this year working my absolute socks off. I was working, cough time. I was working early mornings, I was working evenings, I was working weekends, and my husband mentioned in passing that we were like flatmates. Let me tell you, that one hurt. I knew something had to change. So now, where possible, I try to stop working at 4 p.m. so that when Charlie gets in from school, I'm here to spend a bit of time with him. If he's got homework, to do homework with him. I try to only work one evening a week, which is the evening that I always work to coach my group clients on a Wednesday evening. And because of that, I try to take Wednesday mornings off. And I also try to finish work by about 2 p.m. on Fridays. And I try not to work Saturdays at all, because I do a bit of work checking in my clients on Sundays. There you go. Now you all have my schedule. We always have dedicated family time. We always eat our meals together unless one of us is out at the table. And, I'm making a real conscious effort to make sure that I see the people that I love, so that I have time booked in with friends, that I'm seeing my extended family, that I'm spending time with the people that I love. Because, work, as I love my job, I love my clients, but what good is all the work that I do if I'm then not getting to enjoy any time with my family and my friends and the people that I love? So my message to you is, find the time for the people that you love, because Netflix, emails, Facebook, work, TikTok, that's a huge one, can wait. That will always be there. Your family, and if you have younger children, take it from me, he's nearly 12. Teenage years seem to come earlier than they ever did, I think. And the time he wants to spend with us is getting smaller and smaller. And so there will soon come a time where he's either in his bedroom or he's with his friends. And I don't want to look back at these last couple of years and think, oh, I shouldn't have spent so much time working. So all those things can wait. Okay, number 4. And this is what I was mentioning at the beginning when I was talking to you about getting really sick this year. So I have to walk the walk if I talk the talk. So at certain times this year, I have let my self-care routine completely slip. I've not stuck to boundaries. I've said yes to things that I should have said no to. I have changed my own plans to fit in with someone else. I have missed out on doing something important to please other people. I have answered work messages at 9, 10 p.m. at night. All those things that I teach my clients not to do, I've been doing. And it wasn't just in the first 5 months of this year when I was really working to build my business and to learn how to be a business owner and not a corporate employee. I did it throughout the summer and into the autumn and the winter as well. I used to have, this really clear routine of self-care, which, yes, it involved the gym. Yes, it involved a nice bubble bath on a Sunday evening and either reading a book or treating myself to some Netflix. But it also included things like having some downtime to do some colouring in or some meditation or a jigsaw puzzle or just relaxing, just cuddling the dog on the sofa. It included going for a walk for the pure joy of going for a walk, not just because, oh my God, I need to get the dog out for a walk. I paid the price of this in a few ways. So I spent a lot of the time this year tired. And those of you that know me well know sleep is probably the one fundamental I still don't have a full handle on. It's much better than it used to be, but the minute I get stressed, my sleep goes out the window. So I spent a lot of this year tired. And I got so sick, as I said at the beginning, before Christmas, sicker than I have been in years. Honestly, COVID was nothing compared to this. In fact, I got away with COVID really lightly, but I got so sick and I really haven't been that ill for years and years and years. And I have to put plans in place to make that different next year. It has to be different. I have to put my boundaries back in place. I have to say no to things that don't serve me and my family. And I really, really have to make sure that I don't look at self-care as being a luxury, and that it is absolutely fundamental, because it's what I preach, it's what I talk about in all of my content. So that's a huge one for me. I'll share with you as I go through what that's going to look like, but there's going to be some big changes for me, and it's a huge part of it will be about how I manage my time. Okay, and so I guess the learning for you there is really, I want you to see that self-care is a necessity. It's not a luxury. It's really, really important. And it's not just a spa day, a bubble bath, a face pack. It's saying no. It's putting time aside for you. It's investing in yourself, whether that's time investment, money investment, whatever it looks like. It's really important. And if you aren't spending time on self-care, you have no headspace. I know when I'm letting my self-care go down, because I get irritable. I forget things. My mind is all over the place. So, I really want you to learn that, or to take from this, that your self-care is really important. And number 5 is that some people don't want, and then I've put in brackets, my help, and that's okay. And I think that if you have been following me for a while, you will know that I'm really passionate about helping women, particularly mums, but women. And so much so that I left a 22-year corporate career to do exactly that. That was not an easy decision. Now, most people that are part of my network, if you are watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on a podcast, if you're reading the emails that I send, if you're part of my Facebook group, if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, You are part of my network because you have an interest in health, fitness, potentially weight loss, in self-care, in reducing overwhelming stress, in taking a vote for yourself. And that's great. Now you have that interest. What I've learned is that not everyone wants help from me. And I used to take that really, really, really personally. And that's because I'm a recovering people pleaser. Now, I know that I can't please all of the people all of the time. And I've learnt this in the last 12 months. At the beginning of this year, if I had a conversation with someone about joining my programs and they said no, I would take that really personally and wonder what was wrong with me. And now, quite often, I will know that the people that are going to say no are not right for my program anyway. You know, I'm really, really protective of the women that I let into the inner circle that I work with because I've built such a community there. I'm really sorry if you can hear my stomach rumbling. I've built such a community there, and I'm protective of the people that are already in there. And I know that not everyone wants help from me, and maybe that's just because they don't quite click with me. They're not ready for help yet. My style doesn't work for them. They perhaps don't see value in what I have to offer. And that's okay, because I'm not right for everyone. You know, there are people that come into my network and get in touch with me and then ignore my messages, or say they want to book a call with me to talk about how I can help them, and then they don't book a call, or they don't turn up to the call, or they'll ignore my emails and my voice notes. And that's okay, because you can't be the right person for everyone. You can't please everyone. So the thing is to stop trying, because to try to please everyone is exhausting. You know, I liken this to if you've got 3 children and a partner, and every single one of them has a different dietary requirement. And I'm not talking about an allergy or an intolerance. You know, one's chosen to be vegan, one's chosen to be dairy free, one's pescatarian, and one doesn't want to eat any red meat. When you go to cook dinner, you are cooking at least 4 dinners, 4 different types of dinners. It is so hard. Not that I'm saying if this is you, you should let your family starve, but that is going to be exhausting. You are going to need to get in some help. You know, the other half needs to help, or the oldest kid needs to help, or something, because that is going to be exhausting. And it's exactly the same in life. So my lesson is, you can't please everyone all of the time, and don't take it personally, because it's okay. It's okay for that to be the case. It's normal. It's natural. And I kind of feel really good with that one now. I feel like that's definitely been one that I'm okay with. So they're my 5. I mean, I have had loads of lessons, but when I sat down and thought about this, they're the 5 I really wanted to share. And I really, really hope that this helps you, inspires you, even if it just inspires you to think about the big learns you've had. And you don't have to have 5. You could have 1, you could have 2, you could have 10. Like I say, there's lots of little learns that I've had, but these are the big ones. So I'd love to hear from you what your big learns are. You can, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can drop me a comment below, or you can get in touch with me on my various social media channels. If you're listening to this on a podcast. So I'd love to hear what your big learns are, or what your takeaway is from this episode. You know, what struck a chord with you, what feels familiar. So all that's left to say is, if you're listening to this before New Year's Eve, I'm wishing you a happy new year. If you're listening to this after New Year's Eve, happy new year already. I hope that you enjoy New Year's Eve. Stay safe. I can't wait to jump into 2023 with you, and thank you for listening and watching. Mwah. Have an awesome week.